As far as I can remember, I've always been a girly girl. Growing up, I used to be obsessed with Barbies and collecting stuffed animals. At the age of 9, I went through a phase where all I collected were porcelain dolls. It all started when a relative gifted me with a porcelain doll on my birthday. I don't remember who this relative was, and neither does my mom. The doll had skin white as snow, curly black, perfectly pin-curled hair, brown eyes, and a light beige dress on. Its face was very realistic. I hardly ever took it outside of the box because, honestly, I was also creeped out by it, but I still admired its beauty from afar. I named her Rosemary. I had a weird relationship with this doll. I would love the doll one month and take her outside of her box to play with. The next month, I would despise and be terrified of her. I decided to leave Rosemary on the top of a bookshelf, which was in the living room. I would never want to stay in the living room by myself because her eyes would always follow me around the room. Not to mention the light beige dress. I used to imagine that the doll was buried underground with a wedding dress, and that was the reason behind its discoloration. In one instance, I was home alone and watching TV when the living room lights started flickering uncontrollably. I was scared, so I turned off the TV and ran to my room. When I was hiding in my bedroom, I heard the TV turn on by itself, then turn back off. Luckily, my mom came home shortly after. Occasionally, the doll would also go missing, but I assumed my brother was just trying to mess with me. Sometimes, I would find her in my bedroom with all of my other dolls still inside of her box. I used to suffer from nightmares. I would dream about Rosemary. In these dreams, she would talk to me from the inside of her box and tell me that she wanted to come outside and play with me. Her mouth would never move. She said that she would never hurt me and that she loved me. In one particular nightmare, I went to bed after a long day at school. I woke up in the middle of the night to the sound of rustling. I went to the living room, and the box was on the floor and was left open. Rosemary wasn't inside of the box. I looked around and heard singing. It came from the kitchen, and when I peeped inside, Rosemary was near the sink, holding a knife, still singing. I ran to my parents. They followed me into the kitchen. We grabbed a baseball bat and lighter because we were going to break the doll and set it on fire. Rosemary was walking toward the living room to get back inside of the box. My dad got his slipper and threw it at the doll. It fell back and let go of the knife. She was still crying, and I was horrified, but also angry. The doll was throwing a tantrum on the floor, crying hysterically and screaming at me, this time with a demonic voice.
Pick me up, you stupid girl!
So I grabbed the bat and started smashing her really hard until she shattered into pieces. Afterward, we collected the remnants of the doll and set it on fire. When I woke up from the dream, I was crying. I went into the living room and the box was on the floor, but Rosemary was still inside. Her cheeks were damp. I wanted to throw the doll away, but my mom said that we could donate it. I agreed to send Rosemary away. When we got to Goodwill and opened the donation box, we saw that the doll was shattered. So they just threw her box away. After Rosemary left my house, the nightmares stopped. Shortly after, I stopped playing with dolls. I was also 11 years old, so it was time for me to stop and grow up.